Media.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. There is a major spending scandal brewing in Canada, one that's been going on for quite some time. We've talked about Randy Boissonnault, and no matter which Randy it is, the millions of dollars in contracts that have been authorized to him while he was a sitting MP. We've talked about Dalian. We've talked about Arrive Scam. We've talked about green slush funds and SDTC and billion-dollar contracts being handed out to friends of Justin Trudeau. Well, today we have to talk about nearly a quarter of Canada's total budget that is completely being thrown out the window. And while this crime has happened, it is going to continue to happen while we change governments, unless something is done. Now, it is my job to kind of switch gears here because we're going to throw it all on the table. I think that the next election, we have to start asking the major questions of our leaders, of our potential leaders, as to how these problems are going to be handled so that Canadians aren't just axing taxes or fixing crime or building new homes, but making life more affordable for Canadians. And as we urge our way closer to that election, whether it's going to happen in the spring, whether it's going to happen in October of 2025, I think it's going to be the latter. We're counting down the days. We're counting down the days to Justin Trudeau leaving office. And wouldn't it be great if there were a way to count down the days? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Calendars That Curse. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Calendars That Curse. With every purchase from Calendars That Curse, you can be comfortable knowing you're supporting local products that are designed and created within Canada. Calendars That Curse make products for the everyday Canadian who just doesn't care about their freedom of expression. Holding nothing back, these calendars are not for the weak or confused. From office-inspired, classy, cursive curse words to just write down politically incorrect, they are confident they have the right product to satisfy all of your cursing needs. Don't take any of it too seriously because they definitely don't. Calendars That Curse offers unique products, and one that I definitely have found is my favorite and can assure you that this upcoming year I will be posting Calendars That Curse within the Fringe's home, and I highly advise you guys go out and support local and grab yourself one the same. That's over at calendarsthatcurse.ca, link below in the description. Go and grab yours right now. Now, Calendars That Curse is a great organization. Again, the last time we did an ad for them, they sold out a product. So if you guys want to grab anything for the Christmas season for gifts, make sure to grab your Calendars That Curse right now over on their site. Let's take a look at what we're talking about today. This tweet was sent to me earlier this week from Table Salt, stating the Canadian federal government doles out $102 billion per year, a quarter of the total budget, in an opaque slush fund titled Other Transfer Payments. This money is tax-free, and only one exists online. It's hard to find. Here's where the money is going. Buckle up. Here's the thread. Now you can see down here, under Other Transfer Payments, $102 billion. I want to get into this because it's not what you think it is, but it's important that we highlight this. He goes on to explain, virtually no information exists anywhere online where the money is going. Budget documents include one paragraph of this fund. Other transfer payments by departments or projects to increase $112.8 billion in 2029. Growth reflects growing profiles such as Canadian Dental Care Plan and a plethora of others. I found this motherlode of virtually never visited Public Account of Canada webpage titled Volume 3, Section 6, Transfer Payments, lists where every department is sending the money. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at what it's talking about. Agriculture and Agri-Food, Canadian Heritage Fund, Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs, Economic Development Agency of Canada and the Relations of Quebec, Employment, Workforce Development and Disability Inclusion, Environment and Climate Change, Finance, Fisheries, Oceans and Canadian Coast Guard, Global Affairs, Health, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship, Indigenous Services. The list goes on. It's important to highlight these because, again, we're going to get into what this actually is. It says the website also contains a never-ending list of government favoritism in a $100 billion slush fund. Here are some examples. Let's again take a look. Renfrew County SA Support Center in Pembroke, Ontario. Rise Women's Legal Center in Vancouver, Rowan House Society, High River, Alberta, Samson Cree Nation, Masquakas, Alberta, SA Center in Kingston, Shelter Movers in Toronto, South Asian Women's Center, Toronto, Sudbury Women's Center, in Sudbury, obviously, Ontario, Surrey Women's Center in Surrey, British Columbia, the Elizabeth Fry Society of Greater Vancouver, New Westminster, BC, the Joy Smith Foundation in Winnipeg, Manitoba, the Redwood for Women and Children Fleeing Abuse in Toronto, Ontario, Vancouver Lower Mainland Multicultural Family Support Services Society in Burnaby. The list goes on, but you can see all the amounts down here. Those are going to be important as this thread continues. Table Salt goes on to list there's dance studios in here. Les Muses, a Center for the Arts and in Montreal, Quebec. National Youth Orchestra Association of Canada, Opera of Montreal, Orchestra Francophone Canadian. I know I'm not pronouncing the French, guys. Forgive me. I'm not getting into that. A lot of French companies. Soul Pepper Theatre Company, the Alberta Ballet Company, Banff Centre, Canadian Heritage Arts Society, the Centre for Indigenous Theatre, Okanagan Indian Educational Resources Society in Penticton, the Remix Project, Royal Conservatory of Music, the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, etc. And again, tons of money doled out. Random companies. Now, I want to highlight all of these, and I know, guys, you're going to say, get to the point, Fringe, but it's important we go with all of these. Canada Inc., Canada Inc., Canada Inc., Canada Inc., all the way down. Hundreds of thousands of dollars going out. McCain Foods listed as one. You've got Loblaws in here, $1.5 million. Lafarge Canada. These are all massive corporations, by the way. Manitoba Métis Federation, Markham District Energy, McCain Foods, McGill University, Pinnacle Rewards Energy, Pure Energy Inc., Sask Power, Scotiaway Inc., Thunderbolt Energy assets in Toronto. And it says here $23 million for police in other countries. Again, let's highlight this. Food and Agriculture Organization in Rome, Italy, $17 million. Grants for counter-terror capacity building program, $23 million. International Criminal Police Organization in Lyon, France. International Organization for Migration in Geneva. Specialized Department of Public Finances abroad for France as well. United Nations, Geneva, Switzerland, $16 million. Grants for Anti-Crime Capacity Building Program, $13 million. Canadian Commercial Corporation, Ottawa. International Criminal Police Organization. International Organization for Migration in Geneva. Justice Education Society of British Columbia, Vancouver. Organization of American States for Washington, $1.9 million. Again, you can see all these numbers on the right of the page. It says here, guys, the list is so long. That's when I try to figure out how many pages it is. I'm trying to print it. It crashes my PC. Millions upon millions to global banks. Millions and millions, as Donald Trump says. Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade, losses on foreign exchange to transfer payments. Payments to international financial institutions, direct payments. $300 million. African Development Bank, Asian Development Bank, Caribbean Development Bank, Inter-American Development Bank, International Fund for Agriculture Development in Rome, Multilateral Fund for Implementation of Montreal Protocol, World Bank, Washington, D.C., Public Service Superannuation, Moncton, New Brunswick. The list goes on. The list goes on. Here's proof that the fund exists right now on the 2024 budget, again, under other transfer payments. And you can see it right here. I know it's a little cut off. But you can see it right in there. Other transfer payments right here under direct program expenses. $900 million is going to the United Nations. Again, I know this is cut off, but I'll read it all out. New Humanitarian in Geneva, Toronto Centre in Toronto, UNESCO Institute for Statistics, UNICEF Ottawa, United Nations, getting $894 million in Geneva. World Bank Washington, $383 million. World Food Program, Rome, Italy, $550 million. World Health Organization, World Trade Organization, World Vision Canada, Payments under $100,000. Well, there's 2 listed apparently. Grants from international development assistance partnerships with Canadian programming. Aga Khan Foundation. There's an interesting one, given Justin Trudeau's history with that. $5 million. Canadian Council for International Cooperation. The list goes on. The list goes on and on. You can see here multiple reports. I'm not going to waste any more time. They also redact names and organizations who get less than $100,000. $450 to dairy farmers. $75 million to the wine industry. $10 million for anti-racism. We're not even close, folks. There's $102 billion in there. We've covered maybe, it says 58 this, or 5 billion, sorry, this far. 83 million for print news. Where's my cut? 3.5 billion for treaty land claims. 186 million to promote women. $44 million in a climate fund for Luxembourg. 18 million to Mennonites, then 10 million for unalivings with infants in London. Millions for Islamic relief, for gigaton solar in Africa, and to the World Economic Forum. $1.5 million. Gigaton Fund Luxembourg gets 42 million. Islamic relief, 2.8. What are we discussing here? I'm going to go through it all. Again, we're almost there, folks. 13 million for a rehab center in Bangladesh, the Norwegian Refugee Council, green slush funds and payments for foreign governments. He says here, screenshot it, record it. They will probably take it down. What I've shown here and what I've retweeted. What is all of this? What is this roughly 102 billion? Again, a quarter of the total budget of Canada. Very easily explained, folks. I talked about this when I was going to run for mayor of Calgary when I had my bid. This is where the major problem comes with government spending. And this is one of the things, again, we need to start asking future leaders when it is going to stop. These are what are called NGOs, or non-government organizations. This is just the government being frugal in a sense by giving money to friends, to those that they prefer, and to those they wish to fund outside of Canada. This is where our tax dollars go. And again, a quarter of our budget. When you think about $102 billion, what that could do for Canada if we were to just even cut this in half. Half. Over $50 billion going back into the Canadian economy, going back into creating jobs, infrastructure, pipelines, getting our products to market. Imagine the things that could be done in this country if our governments were not wasting tons of money. A lot of people have asked, what are NGOs? Essentially, what you've got, and I've always used Calgary and what I learned about Calgary as the melting pot for this. In Calgary, there are roughly 11 organizations that deal with homelessness and the homeless crisis within Calgary. These organizations are funded for hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars every year. Now, while shelters are going without the proper equipment they need, without the resources they need, without the help they need, without the staff they need, without addictions counselors they need, without beds for people, other organizations that maybe have 2 or 3 staff members that essentially do nothing all day but take statistics are sitting around getting paid hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars out of taxpayer money to virtually do nothing, to not exist. Again, for the sake of virtue signaling, for the sake of writing off money, this is why the government hands this funds out. This is where I've said that when Pierre becomes prime minister, defunding the CBC would do great things. Converting government properties into homes, into creating new homes for people, those are all great ideas. But one of the things we need to tackle as a nation is government waste. And right here is $102 billion in government waste going to non-government organizations for nothing more than for them to huff their own farts and feel good about each other. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Are you shocked to see a quarter of our money and going to NGOs? Are you surprised that Trudeau's scandals look like absolutely nothing but a drop in the bucket in comparison to the amount of money? The purpose of this video, again, is to show just how much our government wastes at the end of the day, and why, again, it's important that we hold accountability to future governments to request that they look into these NGOs. I believe Pierre is going to. I believe some of this spending is going to be halted. But again, this has been going on for decades. This is where your taxes go. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I've always said taxation is theft. And this clearly shows that that is a very accurate claim. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. It helps push this video out there for the YouTube censors, out in the good old algorithm. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you're hitting that button down below, you hit the bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, my live streaming show where I sit down with my beautiful wife, Mrs. Fringe, and we go over everything that has happened this week in politics, as well as everything we know that's coming up in the week ahead, as well as your Q&A and back and forth within the greatest community on the platform. We look forward to sitting down and talking with you guys each and every Friday night and hearing what you have to say. We look forward to seeing you this Friday night starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, go grab your calendars that curse. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and enjoyed this video. I'll catch you on the next one.